Hello out there. It's me, the host of Tiny Little Victories podcast, the podcast that talks to humans who are changing the world. So today is a little bit strange because yesterday, October the 16th, was a full moon. So we recorded this podcast the day after the full moon, and everybody, including our producer, was full of energy. It was very lively and very introspective at the same time. And so on this show, we're going to talk about a couple of things. One, we're going to talk about the philosophy and the principles of a magician. Yeah, bet you didn't see that coming. And our guest today is Blazej Wojtyla. Now, you know what? It's a Polish name, and I think I just didn't do a great job of saying it correctly. But it is the same last name as the Pope. His name is Karol Wojtyla. So there you go. This is a man who has allowed me to call him Blaze. That's the English version. It's much easier for us to say, which we appreciate greatly. But let me tell you a little bit about why this is an important podcast and about why we need to stop and listen. Blaze is a successful entrepreneur in Poland, and he develops IT products for different kinds of industry. So very smart guy. And as you know, we all live in a state of disrepair in a way where we're always thinking maybe we're not good enough, or maybe this wasn't as good as it should be, and maybe this is just how it has to be because this is what I was told it had to be. This is what society told me I had to be, and this is sort of the rules of the game type thing. Well, Blaze decided that maybe that wasn't a great thing to do. So based on the fact that he had been doing magic, being a magician, since he was about 5 years old, he decided in his grown-up life that he would take the principles of a magician, which, by the way, there are so many, and it's so interesting, and you're going to hear about that on the show, and turn that into a one-man interactive theater performance, which was performed in October of this year to rave reviews in Poland. And unfortunately, it's just in Polish, but maybe if you all write in and comment, we can get him to do a show for us in English. So with no further ado, I would like to bring you a man who looks at the world in a creative way and in a way that says you don't have to be pigeonholed into a place just because you were told you had to be there. I think that's about right. Okay, please welcome Blazej Wojtyla from the one-man show, This Is How It Has to Be. So, Blaze, this is so interesting that you're on the show because you and I had almost a 2-hour conversation, 3 weeks ago. We hadn't talked in 10 years, and all of a sudden, it was 2 hours later. So I'm so grateful you came. So welcome to Tiny Little Victories.
Yeah, I'm so happy, and thank you for the invitation. And yeah, I feel as well that 3 weeks ago, in these 2 hours, we just opened so many topics and we're not able even to close a lot of them. So
no, and I think this is part of, we're sharing this with the world. So in the intro, you guys heard me talk about Blaze and what he's been doing, what his business was like, and then what he pivoted and tried to do. So we're going to really talk about his one-man interactive play that just was performed, I think, last week in the middle of October. Is that right? October, what day was that?
It was middle of October. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, middle of October.
Mm-hmm. Yep, a little bit more than a week ago when we are recording it. So.
Okay, so I'm dying to ask you this question. This is one of the topics we talked about, how you are a mobile developer. Your company develops mobile, products.
Not so much mobile right now. In general, IT products and a lot of web development, and doing a lot of consultancy, trying to talk about how to build stuff in general.
Yeah. I like that. And you're from Poland. And so you've had this company, Jazzy Pro Solutions, for a while. And then you got married, you had 2 kids, and then now you're doing a one-man interactive show. Why? How did you get there?
Yeah, it's definitely not out of nowhere because I was into magic for my whole life. And actually it started when I was, 4 or 5 years old. and I've seen a magician on TV. It was Siegfried and Roy and David Copperfield. All of them were super popular back then. And also my grandma trying to forbid me to watch that because it's probably something too close to Satan.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course. Think about it. Like you're a little kid, and
Yeah,
because there's a lot of religion in your country, mostly Catholic. And so she didn't
exactly.
want little Blaze to watch any magic. But did you do it in secret? Did you just keep doing magic, or did you?
Yeah. I kept doing it. I
Okay.
was like literally as a small kid going all around and pushing all of my family to do this show during birthday parties and New Year's Eve and so on. And I actually was doing magic shows for a few years when I was a teenager. So starting
Okay.
13 years old until I was 18, I was actually gigging and doing these shows for cash quite often. And then I dropped all of that because of going to university and my
Oh,
past girlfriend.
yeah.
So I
Oh, wait. You dropped magic because your past girlfriend didn't like it?
like
Ah, you see, it's
she
always
didn't.
a girl. It's always a girl. Too. You move somewhere for a girl, or you change your job for a girl,
Yeah,
or you quit something for a girl.
yeah. I
Tisk
quit.
tisk.
Yeah, but in the end, I think like everything is in place
Yeah. Yeah.
because of that. I dropped it for quite a long time, and from the distance, I was able to observe everything that's screwed up, let's say,
Yeah.
about magic and why it's being perceived very often as something connected too much to circus and clowns. And
Yeah.
nothing against clowns because that's an art, a form of art
Yeah.
by itself.
It is. It's so true.
But it's different.
Clowns.
But it's different.
Yeah, it's different. Well, I like that I like you made that choice at such a young age. Like a lot of people don't, in my opinion, don't really stop and pause and step back from something because
Hmm.
this gives you an idea to get perspective and to be able to
Yeah.
see like I mean, it must be frustrating to be a magician, someone that believes in magic, and then having to really fight that stereotype of like
Hmm.
circusy, clown,
Yeah.
hoaxy. I mean, how, as an 18-year-old, like, and then to where you are now, like, how has that thought process changed for you now in
Yeah.
terms of
It's
magic?
so it's 20 years later.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, there were a few years when I was not doing much about magic.
Yeah.
But as girlfriend was exchanged for a new one that became my wife,
Okay, I
and
like
and
this new
and
model better already. Yes.
and my present wife is really supportive, and
Yeah,
she really likes that I'm doing it after hours and I'm into magic.
I love
But
that.
in the meantime, I was organizing some shows. I was doing, for example, like it was from time to time. But for example, I always tried to do something more than just magic and use the magic as a tool, as a vehicle. So I had these
Okay,
programs. One of them was called Magic of Startups, and I was
love that.
having a workshop for startups showing how it works based on magic. Or I had this business of magic, and I used Harvard business books
Uh
about
huh.
how to do business properly, and I was putting these messages inside the show to
I
to
love
to
it.
to to convey them. But yeah, but it was like once per 3 4 years there was something happening, and there was again nothing publicly.
Yeah. That's kind of how it is though in life. Like you have you do a job, you have to get a job. People want you to have a
Yeah,
job. And then you have this passion for something. And then you want to do that, but you're like, "Okay, I have to have this job." And
yeah.
then this gets put to the side, but then it bubbles back up. And it's so interesting because magic or being a magician is sort of like a philosophy, right? Like
Hmm.
you are able to take the philosophical, guidelines of magic and apply them to everyday
Yeah,
things that we need to, like startups. I think actually when you said that, I was like, you should market that, coin that, sell that, like get that on the road. That is
hmm.
great as a
Yeah.
concept.
Actually, even now, when I was thinking how I can connect all of these years running companies and being an entrepreneur with doing magic in a way that will be comfortable for me, first of all, it's doing shows that are classy, let's say, like that are
Mm-hmm.
something more than just a simple magic show. But
Yeah.
second thing was actually trying to use all of these rules, all of the psychology behind magic that's very often ahead of the research or things that are happening. And actually, I know that in the past, in 60s, 70s, David Copperfield actually was doing most of his money, and the beginning of his career was to do these business talks using magic to train people. And I think that that's actually brilliant, and I would love to do that. I would love to do that more, like to be able to to talk to managers in companies and having that background of entrepreneur and knowing the rules of magic, knowing how to design the negotiations, the structure, the offering. How to think about other people, and especially now when we really have all to focus on people, not on companies, but on every single person. It's just and to still keep that truth behind it, to not make it something that's faked, but something that's genuine and honest. So that's a really interesting topic. Magic discovered a lot of these psychological rules like hundreds of years ago.
I did not. Okay, I'm just like fascinated by what you just told me. I did not know that magic had a lot of psychology guidelines and a lot of philosophy in it. So, I mean, this is almost like a religion philosophy to me is sort of like a religion, right? You have a philosophy and you read all of the philosophers and you're like, this is like a true way of thinking. So if you apply that to a craft, right? Like being a magician, then it like brings those things aren't tangible, you know? I mean, like thinking about how to structure a deal or creating a foundation for your startup. It's not tangible in a way, right? So if you, what was your first, I guess my question to you is like, what part of the philosophy side of then the magician world were you able to see very clearly could be applied to startups?
Yeah, so it's the very first lesson was about being on stage, because doing a lot of shows as a kid, you very quickly has to learn that energy is way more important for this first presence in front of other people trying to sell something than the I don't know, the main message. Like the main goal
of this. You just said it right there, Blaze. You just nailed it on the head. It's all about presence, right? That energy.
It's when people will see that you believe in that you are positive, you are optimistic, and you will grab their attention and they will follow you, then you already achieved your goal, because they will come to you, they will ask more questions, they will want to talk to you about, okay, so why are you so excited about it? Nobody's able to listen to all of these details. People are trying to squeeze in 5 minutes everything about their business, all of the numbers and so on, while the most important thing is to actually grab the attention and make these people be open to talk to you, to open this relationship and start doing something together. And if somebody is not I don't know, it's not getting you, if there are no if there is no chemistry, then probably also the business will not work, because it's not just about money.
I love that you said that. Like this idea that you have to cram everything into 5 minutes to your whole entire philosophy. And I think the investor system is broken. I've said it before, and I will keep saying it on every podcast, is broken. But you're correct. I think because that is a philosophy, having a presence, making energy, because that's how I do business. I want to work with people that I feel have the same energy or chemistry as I do. And if I make a mistake and choose a client that's not in the beginning, my intuition is like, this is going to be hard. And then you take the money and you're unhappy the whole time. Because you knew, and you didn't trust yourself. And that you being on stage since you were 13, I think really proves the fact that like that element of presence, energy, having people gravitate to you is something that you could bring to the table for other companies or like managers at different companies. Because you're right. I'm talking too much now, but we are losing that human connection more than anything. And you're right. It's humans. You got to humanize everything.
Yeah, but that's also why I hate so much all of this all of these approaches when people will try to teach you how to do this most effective networking on a big business event and approach so many people, while I will prefer to go for an event where there are 30, 50 people. You can find four or five of them that you can really connect with, and not trying to push yourself to make something happen, rather trying to
force it.
Rather try to find people that you are getting along very well, because it will get back to you after some time. Like it will be way more I don't know, after 5 years most of these people will change their jobs 3 times. And it's more about the person, not about the company that they are working at in the end.
So true. I think that you and I talked about this before, and I had another guest who said the same thing. Like, he only picked his jobs by what he felt he could contribute, not by the title. And I think that is a smart move. I never concerned myself with the title. I was more concerned about the work that I did. I guess, and being present with people. Like, can you have a conversation with somebody that resonates with you? Because how can you do business together if you're on opposite sides, right?
Yeah. But also, if talking about that magic aspect, like for me, that's something that you will need 5-hour podcast to.
Yeah, well, we could just do one in segments, because I think that this magic concept as like a business concept is something I had not thought about until just like on this podcast with you. So keep going, please.
No, but there are some things that are like pretty obvious. Some of them are very vague and not easy to explain. But for example, like even the most basic stuff, like for startups, for example, all of the magicians have that you are learning that as a kid, that you can practice. So yeah, it's like every single magician. We are playing with cards and coins in the beginning for like years, and then we are going on the stage, or we are sitting next to the table. We are doing the show, and we realize that all of these exercises, all of the time, all of these mechanics that we are creating for years are actually not causing people to like it. Like they are not triggering any reactions, because people don't care. Like you can learn for 10 years from the best books about card magic, and you can know hundreds of best card moves, and then people don't care. For them, it's just a card trick. And it's a very harsh lesson for a kid to realize that people don't care. And you are learning that you need to focus on their perspective. You need to be empathetic. You need to understand that your main goal is to think about, okay, what they are getting from that show, not what I am able to show to them. So all of these things are later on making it so much easier to build a speech, to talk to people, to understand their needs. And it's there are a lot of these things, how to even navigate the attention of people, because in magic you have to do a lot of things on one hand, and on the other hand you have to focus on, okay, what they are seeing. Even while writing the script, you are describing what people see. You are not describing what's really happening, because there is 10 times more things happening in your pockets, under the tables, and so on.
That is such a strategy, right? Like describing to them what they're seeing, not what you're doing. But that to me requires an amazing, like different kind of brain focus, right? Like it's basically how we don't think at all today, because social media is all about me. We're like obsessed, like what I'm projecting, what I'm doing, how people are responding. But this philosophy, this magic philosophy, is exactly opposite. It's about thinking, it's about showing them, telling them what they're seeing and what they're getting versus what you're getting. And to me, that is not how the world operates, sadly. But it should.
But that's exactly how it is. It's
right.
While doing this show, I was also talking to my psychotherapist, and she was listening about these 3 acts in the show. where the first act is about the perfection, second is about the pressure, and the final one is broken glass. It's about the truth behind all of that.
Yeah.
And she was asking me, okay, but in this first act you are doing something that makes you look like a narcissistic perfect person on purpose.
Yeah.
And that was the goal for the show. That was the goal. And I wanted people to like kind of don't like me in the very first act, to then realize that it's not like it. And she said, okay, so you intuitively you can see that people don't like perfect people. People don't like people who are people don't like you may feel better seeing that others will adore you, or they will admire how good you are, but they will that's not what will make them be open with you. That's not something that will make them be honest with you. But that was exactly the goal of that show. It was about making the first act to be very elegant, very sophisticated, with a good language, with everything being awesome, like headlines from newspapers. And then in a second and third act, to show that it's always that there's always something it's nobody's having an easy life.
Yeah, so nobody's having an easy life. That's so true. Let's shift a little bit, because I want you to talk more. Let's talk about the show, because more than we're talking about the show, because I want everyone, all the listeners, to know that what the show is about, and you had a struggle to get it ready from either like the support, the confidence, but then you hired an acting coach, like you wrote a script for this thing. So tell us the name of the show in Polish, and then of course the translation, and take us through that, because when I was talking to you before, we're like, it's an interactive one man like theater show, but the things that you do, we'll get to those later, about like giving audience things to hold. That I want you to talk about the mirror, because you told me about that. I'm fascinated by that. But yeah, Dimitri, I'm going to start over. I want to talk a little bit about the show, because it's so interesting how you got there. You got there through a lot of struggle, through some trying to find the confidence to be able to talk about the main issues that you felt that are difficult to talk about in Poland, which is, mental health. And I think mental health is a topic that depending on where you are in different countries, like people are more accepting, but I like how the culture is becoming more accepting of, let's talk about mental health. So this show, tell us in Polish the name of the show, and then English, and tell us how, like what each act does and how it's interactive. And then I'm dying to know what the results were.
Yeah, so the name of the show in Polish is Bo tak trzeba, and the translation will be probably like how it has to be. Yeah, that's the working project name for now. And
I like that, because it's a question: how does it have to be this way, or it has to be this way? Or I like it because you know why? It makes me think.
Yeah, it's all about it. It's all about us doing things that things that have to be like that. Like we believe that they have to be like that because we were told by our parents, friends,
society,
company, school, society, everything around us. We are being trained to follow these rules, and there is also the part in my show that's a question mark. Because at some point we are no longer being pushed by people around us, because we start to believe it so much, we start to tell that, and we are creating this as our own story. We are losing that clear vision that that's something that other people forced us to do, other people asked us to do, or wanted from us. We start to believe that that's our own need, our own.
You adopt that narrative. You adopt that, and you're living it, right? You're breathing it. You talk about this. You begin to live it. I've been there, beginning to live that, and I'm like, those aren't my values. That's not really how I want to work. Exactly. That's not how I want to. And then it's a weird. You said something earlier about it's difficult for a child when they learn magic, and then they realize that it's kind of a letdown in a way, right? I think same thing when you're on this programming track and then you realize like, this isn't my, it's like the talking head says, this isn't my beautiful wife. Like, what's going on here? So I think that's common. I don't think people like to talk about it.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's extremely universal. That was a hypothesis. Like that show was this first spectacle was starting 11:15 p.m. like in the middle of night in a club with 70 people. It was a test drive, let's say.
Okay.
And I was super
Dress
curious,
rehearsal,
like how people really react to that. Like, will they?
Well, tell me
what
happened in your dress rehearsal, like with 70 people in a bar. What was the feedback?
Yes, so the feedback was awesome. I cannot resist to not tell the story of the whole day before that, because like I forgot to eat anything. Like I got my breakfast at 7 a.m. and I realized 11 p.m. that I got nothing for the whole day because I was so stressed about all of this, about going again on stage in front of so many people after a few years of break. But my good friend was on the backstage, also a magician, a few other people, and that's also something that I like about being in different communities with different people, because people who are doing art on daily basis, they have different approach to many things. So that's a story that maybe on one hand it shouldn't be shared. On the other hand, that's one of the stories that should be shared publicly.
Yeah, I get it. That's the process. It's behind the scenes in a way.
Yeah, but there's a guy who's seen he's seen that I'm super stressed about going on stage.
Yeah.
So he said that he will help me, and he standed in front of me, turned his back to me, put his trousers down. He has shown me his naked ass, and he told me, "Okay, listen. From now on, nothing worse will happen this evening. So why are you stressed?"
And
I was like, what's happening here? What's going on? Like, I wouldn't believe if somebody will tell me that something like that can happen.
Yeah.
And for him,
that's
it was
a good friend.
And nobody cared. Like the whole backstage said, yeah, probably will
nobody
help
cared.
You.
And so you change then, right? Did some like stress flow away from you at that point?
Definitely. Like that helped a lot. Like he was right. And next day before my lecture, he approached me and asked, "Okay, are you stressed?" And I told him immediately that no, I'm super relaxed.
Wow.
Because I didn't need to repeat it.
yeah, exactly. You didn't need to see the naked butt again. But I think that's perspective, right? It's giving you perspective, because you've already done the hard work. You already took your break, and then all of this, because you're a creative person. And I think you're creative in so many different ways, but your creativity started with magic when you were, a child. And I think that you now becoming a playwright, becoming a performer, taking something as fragile as yourself on stage to people in a room that paid to come to see you in a country where this type of theater is probably not something people are comfortable with. So first of all, I guess the idea of you being on stage, what part of those 3 acts were the most, do you think resonated the most with with the audience? Because I know you had an interactive part in there, the mirror.
Yeah.
So
I think that's more about the whole journey, because like every single act is not powerful without the others.
Okay, because they work together. The sum.
Yeah, that's about the transition from I'm perfect and you should be jealous about what's happening in my life, up to the point where people want to hug you to because they feel the same, and people reacted. I definitely wasn't 100% happy about the show, because I know what I want to change now, and a lot of things didn't go as well as I wanted, but that's part of life. It's always like that.
You're always refining. You're always refining. And so the journey from having people realize the play, the interactive play is about having people realize that they're not perfect and that's okay, right? And taking them through this journey where they see somebody, a narcissistic, perfect person, and then they end up saying, I get this, I feel this, is a huge contribution, in my opinion, to your society, because it seems to allow people to come up and say, I'm not doing great right now, and that's okay.
Yeah, I was terrified how people will react. I was honestly terrified. But when after the show, people approached me and they were telling me that they just went through the very same story, that they are going through same issues. One lady just approached me, and I have the disco ball hanging on the stage in the very end of the show, and she was trying to negotiate and buy the disco ball from me, because she said that was the most important show in her life and she wants to have it in her apartment. So it definitely resonated, and that was for me a huge relief, because magic was a secondary thing in that show. The number one thing was for people to feel good about themselves, and to see that they can have problems, they can feel like they are not able to move forward in their lives, they can ask for help, and that everybody around them have very similar issues, and it doesn't matter what they can read on social media or in newspapers or anywhere. Like, it doesn't really matter, because we all have our own struggles, and everybody's facing some serious issues, and we are not sharing them, we are keeping them for ourselves. So it will be really good for all of us to just assume that other people have issues.
I think that that this idea of coming out, so to speak, on like, I'm having these same issues, and having people come up to you, it must have been a relief for you in a way, because I know we've talked about your journey, we've talked about my journey, and oddly, our producer, I think I talked about the last time I talked to you, his own journey. And I think the idea that you hide, you don't share, you don't talk about what your struggles are, and then you're projecting something different to the world. Like, both the producer and I had short stints at very, very large, huge tech companies, and miserable, right? Couldn't get anything done, couldn't move through the system. But then you couldn't tell people, really, because they're like, you're so lucky, you work for so-and-so. And at the same time, both of us have this same experience of just, not being able to get behind it. But you can't tell people that, because you look ungrateful. You look like a spoiled little brat, that you're not having your way. And I love that you took everything. To me, you took magic, you took your entrepreneurial background, you took your love for yourself in a way. It's very brave to share your story on stage to a lot of people. So, I mean, just so many snaps for you. How is the show going to change? And are you going to, I guess I asked too many questions, but what parts of the show would you change that you can tell us about? Because I'm just going to tell everybody. There's a part of the show where he passes out a little mirror to everybody. Correct me if I'm wrong, Blaze. And the point of the mirror is to write down something that you think about yourself, right?
Yep.
And go ahead.
No, it's specifically to visualize something that you think about yourself, or think about your goals, that probably you have this thought that it may be not your real thought. That's something that's adapted from others.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This mirror exercise is something you've adopted back to the beginning of what you're talking about, the programming you become. Okay. And then you ask everybody to do that, and they do it. And then he tells people to smash the mirror.
Yeah.
So how many people smash the mirror in the show? Like, do people really smash the mirror? Really?
Like, right now, the program is that I'm taking few people on stage, and we are obviously only if people are comfortable with that. But some of them are sharing their stories, and one of the stories is not being shared. I'm doing this mind reading effect when I'm talking to somebody, and I'm able to tell him what he projected on the mirror, exactly to the very single line word, like specifically what was written or drawn there. And that one example is being taken to the very end of the show, where I'm putting, because during the show I'm also walking on the glass. Then I'm taking a person from an audience, and that person from the audience is walking with me through the
On the
glass,
glass.
on the broken glass, yeah, and that makes that person
Wow.
open to find the correct key to open the box. And there are a lot of these subtleties that probably
Yeah.
some people will get, some won't, but
Yeah.
I hope that it's always about a group of people that will get it.
Yeah.
But in the
Yeah.
very end,
I
I'm
mean, it's
taking that,
true.
yeah, but in the very end, I'm taking that one specific mirror, and I'm breaking it, smashing it, and I'm taking these pieces of that broken mirror. I'm putting this in a trash bin, and putting the trash bin above my head. And when I'm lowering it, it's empty, and the only thing that's coming out of the trash bin is a huge disco ball. And that's when this
Oh,
message is
that's why
coming,
she
like
wanted the disc. It's like oh my God.
all of our things, like everything that we believe is stopping us. I mean, also during the show, putting in the trash bin a lot of things that are being like if there is a false cover for the book, that cover of the book is being put into that trash bin. Or if there is an expectation that the Rubik's cube has to be perfect, that fake perfect cover is
Yeah.
going to the trash. Everything is going to the trash bin, and in the very end, everything disappears and changes into a disco ball. And I'm saying that we are not broken, we are fucking disco balls. So
Oh
so, so
my God. We are not broken. We are fucking disco balls.
yeah.
I think that is that is like, that's like almost a motto that needs to be. I want a t-shirt. We're not broken. We're just fucking disco balls.
It's not mine. I've seen it somewhere anonymously written in the internet, and
What's yours
I,
now?
I
Because we say it
I
on the podcast. So
I have no idea who's the author. Probably some meme guy,
yeah,
uh,
probably.
but that one sentence actually
Mm.
was the trigger to create that show in that way, because I always had that vision while I was like brainstorming that show for
Mhm.
months, that the ending has to be about the disco ball, because for me that message is so strong that
Interesting.
it's not about forgetting about all of these things. Like
Yeah.
I always, we were talking about it like 3 weeks ago, I'm personally feeling most of the time like I failed, like a
Yeah.
failure, that
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything well enough. And it's that the disco ball is showing that all of these small pieces that we believe are our problems are actually forming something beautiful, something special, and we have to accept it.
I love it that I love that, and I think it's hard because you and I did talk about this, how you feel like this isn't good enough, but the idea you take something that you say or you keep to yourself, and then you made it tangible, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of Buddhist philosophy in what you're saying, like all these parts equal the whole. And if you
Mm-hmm.
take one part out, you take that energy out, which also powers something else that you value more. The creating that pulsating sort of energy ball from excuse me, from
Mm-hmm.
everything. So I think that I can now see why that person said she wanted the disco ball, because that icon, that physical representation of her power
Mm-hmm.
is something that she feels she needs. I mean, I get it. It's on your desk. You look at it, you hear it, you participated, you're moved by it, you change. You tell somebody else, they change. And that's how we make change in the world, starting with somebody like you who takes what's been holding him back or what his fears has been and putting it out there and sharing for people to open up to you. And I am eternally grateful for you for deciding to come on this podcast. I just want everyone to know I've been begging him for a while to come on the show. And I think we're definitely going to have you back because you have so much life in you for the potential of what you can be without all of these weights weighting you down. And it's a true pleasure to listen to your mind and what you created. So thank you, Blaze.
Oh, I don't know how to respond to that, to be honest. But
You
but but
don't
but,
have
but
to.
like, because that show is actually not. That's the thing, is that I didn't. I put that all together, but it's actually the true story. Like that story of my life, it's about, the whole life of pressure and last few years of having a huge round of investment, getting like spending all of that money before the product can took off, have to fire a lot of people, then having my second son who's going through few of these hard surgeries, raising money publicly to go to Boston and everything, and all of these things are somewhere on daily basis. We are putting on these masks. And for me specifically, I started to realize how big cost for us it is to wear the mask. Like if we are for half a day smiling, being energetic and talking to people and showing that everything is perfect, and then we need like I need like literally 2-3 hours sometimes to regulate myself, because
of course
it's all going down.
You're smart. You have just said something that I think we talked about this before, and I felt in my mind a lot is like I call it resetting. Like I need to re-regulate because you're talking, you're raising money, you have a sick child, like everything. You cannot walk around in life and pretend like everything is okay, because I think that is toxic to yourself. To me, it's like putting on a mask that's just leaching negative energy and bad chemistry. We could talk about the brain, forever about, the fight that it has with both sides because of the things that go on in the world, our obsession with ourselves. And it's hard. It's hard to be human, but I think what's harder is to fake it, right? And people say fake it till you make it. And I just don't think that's a good turn of phrase. Like, I don't think you should fake it till you make it, because I don't think you're ever going to make it if you're faking it. The times when you become authentic, I think, are the times that the right things come to you.
Yeah, but during the last event, there was something that's so beautiful, in my opinion, to share. It's about magic specifically, but it's on the other hand, it's very universal as well. Like there was this mentor for a lot of magicians, Andy Nyman from London, an actor, a director, and he's the guy behind Darren Brown shows and so on.
Okay, yeah.
And he was asked the question, where is the boundary of ethics? What are you doing on stage and what you are making people believe? So how far you can go to pretend you are a psychic, and so on and so forth, and where is that ethical boundary? Where you have to stop to not make people be more vulnerable and so on? And he answered, like, when you are on the stage, you can do anything that you want, everything and anything, to give to your audience that final entertainment or emotions and so on. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that what you really want to do to be aligned with your ethics, because he said we shouldn't consider what's like everything is fine, like you can do everything that's not hurting somebody else, but then there is this second layer, second question, what you
for yourself.
For yourself. Where is that boundary for you? And that's where you should say stop. So that's the same in business. Like you can do a little bit of shady stuff, you can fake more or less. The question is, and you can do that. People will accept it. People are used to that. Nobody will be offended by it. The question is, if you personally
are you going to be offended by it?
Yeah, exactly. And I remember one book from I love Harvard Business School, and their lessons and ethics that they are conveying. But there was this one thing, when you will do the very first shady thing, very first small step towards something that you are not completely sure is legal, you probably will end up in jail sooner or later.
You've been listening to Blaze, who has a one-man interactive theater show in Poland. The English translation is How It Has to Be, ? Or not ? It's for you to decide. It's also in Polish. I think we can watch it on YouTube. So what we're going to do is put all the notes, all the show notes in there for you. And if you turn this into a English version, you got to be the first person to tell us, because I want to go see it. I would come to Poland to see that show. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for the conversation. Thanks so much.